fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull when you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head and D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. My name's Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. Back in the sound room, we've got TK and Heavy D going to be joining them a little bit later in the show. And Ken and I, like before this show starts, we sit around, we talk about all kinds of stuff. Tonight we were talking about the movie Back to the Future and how in that movie they were predicting the Cubs might win the World Series in 2015, which back then sounded like a long time. Looks like history might be coming true here. Who knows? And then you were talking about a class that you took at UD back in the day where you predicted what hoverboards were going to be.
That's right, hoverboards, and that cars were going to drive by themselves. You can ask Professor Robert Mott, 1988, University of Dayton engineering class. I think I invented the cars that drive by themselves.
A lot of serious stuff we talk about before this show. Did you predict at all that we'd be doing Fish Report Live in 2015?
Nope, didn't know that, Craig. Never thought we'd have our own sports talk show, but I'm sure glad we do.
Yeah, we're going on 5 years now, and I certainly didn't predict anything like that long ago either. But here we are today, and tonight we're talking some volleyball and a little bit of golf, and got some big interviews lined up, don't we?
Yes, we do, Craig. We're going to talk to the head coach of the very successful volleyball program, the Lehman Cavaliers, and Coach Greg Snipes. Coach Snipes has had his volleyball team to the regionals now. It's something like 21 years ago. It's phenomenal. He's got 3 state titles to his name. Just done a great job over there at Lehman. So really looking forward to talking to Coach Snipes. And also, Craig, we're going to talk to the head coach of the Versailles Lady Tiger golf team, Joe Harrmann. He's bringing the Lady Tigers to the OHSAA state golf tournament this weekend. Can't wait to talk to Joe, find out what's making his team click in his first year as head coach of the Tigers.
All right, well, before we get to all that, just like we do every week, we have a weekly poll question, and tonight's poll question is a volleyball question.
Volleyball question, Craig, and we're going to talk a little bit about the local powerhouse teams. Jackson Center, of course, being the big team this year, although the Fort Laramie Redskins did knock them off last night. But the question is, which team has the best chance to knock the Jackson Center Tigers out of the postseason tournament this year? Is it Lehman, Fort Laramie, Marion Local, or Craig, it's not going to happen this year? The Jackson Center Tigers are going to go all the way.
I'm glad you put that last answer in there, because there are probably Jackson Center viewers out there saying, hey, what do you mean we're going to get knocked off? So
They got knocked off last year by Springfield Catholic. We'll talk about them in a little while, but Jackson's got a great team this year. But, hey, look out for the Fort Laramie Redskins. They're the defending state champions, and they're still the defending state champions until somebody beats them.
Yeah, if you're watching us on NK Telco right now or Game Face Ohio, that poll question, we'll have the answer for you at the end of the show. If you're watching us live right now on the Fish Report website, you can actually scroll down, answer the trivia question, and check the results. But we're going to start out tonight, Ken, talking volleyball. We're going to talk some SCAL volleyball to start out. And I want to go right back to the sound room now and talk to TK back there. I know he took in that Russia Fairlawn game last night. You mentioned the shocker over in Fort Laramie with them knocking off Jackson Center. TK, we're heading into tournament this week. What do you make? Let's look at the standings while we're at it. And what do you make of these Shelby County teams?
Well, they're tuning up real well here as we get into the end of the season, as every team should as you get into the postseason or get ready for the postseason. As you said earlier, Ken, Jackson Center at 11-1 wins the SCAL outright. Then you've got Anna and Fort Laramie with some nice records and nice play this year. Fairlawn is my sneak in there in the end and maybe upset some people as we get into the tournament. But I see, of course, Jackson Center, heavy favorite to get it all the way there. Anna playing really well, and they should go far in the tournament. The battle comes down to Fort Laramie and Fairlawn. They are in the same district bracket, So we'll see what happens there. But I watched Fairlawn play last night, and they've got some nice volleyball players. If they can keep it together and get on a roll, they're a team to watch. Even at 6-6 coming out of SCAL, they are 16-6 overall. So a nice team there at Fairlawn.
And fortunately for some of those other Shelby County teams, and of course in the Division III tournament, so we don't have to worry about them come postseason.
That's right. Tim or TK talked about the Fairlawn Jets there. An interesting record there. Like he said, they're 6-6 in the SCAL, but they're 10-0 outside the SCAL. So shows the strength of the league this year for the Shelby County League.
All right, and we don't forget about our friends up in the MAC, Ken, and they aren't quite finished with the regular season yet, and there's a fairly big game tomorrow night, Thursday night, isn't there?
Big game, Craig. St. Henry Redskins and the Coldwater Cavaliers, Craig. They both come in at 9-0, 21-0, and 20-1, respectively. And the game will be at Coldwater, Craig. They're going to pack the Palace over there in Coldwater. Number 1 in Ohio versus number 3 in Ohio. They're both Division III. The MAC title is on the line. They're already promoting the game, Craig. Seen on Twitter before that they're pushing the 50-50. They want to get it similar where the Coldwater Marion local football game was the other night. I don't know if they're going to get it that high, Craig, but mark my word, there's going to be a big crowd at the Palace Thursday night to watch that volleyball game.
Yeah, worked out perfect there. Perfect ending to that conference over there for the league title.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about tournament coming up real quick, Ken. Just take a quick look. Let's focus on the Southwest District brackets, and I want to go over those Troy and Tip City brackets, just run through them real quick. Let's start out with Troy 1, and what do we got going on there?
Troy 1, Craig. We got the Jackson Center Tigers. Move them to the finals. No disrespect to any of those other teams there. Nobody's going to touch them.
All right, well, let's jump ahead then to Troy 2. Take a look at that. I think we're missing a team there, but what do we got going on
Troy
there?
2, Craig. We got Fairlawn in there and the bye spot, team that got left out. That, like TK said before, they're a very good volleyball team. They could come on here. Southeastern's got a great record. Not sure they've played the caliber of competition that a lot of these teams have played. So that's an interesting bracket right there.
Yeah, Fairlawn they play on Wednesday, so get an opportunity to watch some of these other teams. And let's jump ahead to the Tip bracket. Take a look at Tip 1. What's cooking there?
Tip 1, Craig. Move Coach Rogers and the Redskins. Move them to the finals. There's nobody stopping them.
Yeah, after seeing what we did last night, I agree with you there. And one more bracket to hit is that Tip 2 bracket. And what do we got cooking in Tip 2?
Tip 2 bracket, Craig. Lehman's going to be very tough to beat. Lehman's got a great team this year, but look out for the Catholic Central Fighting Irish. They knocked off the Jackson Center Tigers last year. Nobody saw it coming. Catholic Central's got a very good volleyball team. Coach Snipes is going to have to get by them. Look for an all-Catholic final, but look for the Cavaliers to move out of there.
All right, good stuff there, Ken. And, we talk about it all the time. Certain schools are good in certain sports every year. And Lehman, perfect example. Ever since they've been under Coach Snipes, they've been good every year. This year is no exception. They're state ranked number 7 the last I looked. I think we saw in the tournament bracket ranked number 3 in the tournament bracket. And one big reason, again, is Coach Snipes. So we're happy to have him live on the phone right now. Coach Snipes, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, listen, we were just talking about the tournament bracket here. You've been doing this now for 20 years. This regular season, are you still get excited about the regular season? Or are you ready for tournament to start already come August?
Definitely the favorite part of the season is tournament, but the beginning of the season is great because it's where you start with them and watch them improve throughout the beginning to the end. It's definitely something you enjoy doing as a coach. Tournament brings it to a whole nother level, but the whole season it's a short season to start with, so it's all enjoyable.
All right. Well, listen. I follow you guys in the paper, and I look at the stat leaders every Saturday in the Sydney Daily News. And one name that catches my eye, Coach, about every time I read about you guys is Sydney Chapman. She's been the league leader in kills, I know, for a long time here. She's got a pretty good gap on her next closest competitor, Audrey Francis, over there at Fairlawn, who we got to see last night. She's pretty talented too. Now, is Sydney is she the leader on your team, or is it a collection of girls for the Lady Cavs?
There's definitely a collection. Sydney's a big part. Sydney, Madeline Smith, and Mary Ann Hissong are the three captains, and they all bring a different part of leadership. Sydney obviously has leadership with her play, and she is vocal. But Madeline's our setter for the last 2 years, and she's the one that gets the ball to Sydney and mixes it up enough to get Sydney one-on-one situations, and Marianne's our middle hitter. And, she's just a very competitive person. So we have very strong leadership, which is great to have, and that's why we're so successful this year.
Coach, hi, this is Ken Francis. Let's talk a little bit about the tournament draw that you've got. You actually, your particular brackets do not start playing until Tuesday. Most of them start on Saturday. Safe to say you're going to be out there doing a little scouting over the weekend?
Well, the teams that we're going to play in our bracket, they pretty much all start on Tuesday. The Troy brackets start on Saturday. So it's kind of deceiving because the higher seeds are going to play a lot of lower seeds. So there's not a whole lot of information that you always get at those games. But the thing about our sectional are the teams that you have a good chance of matching up against. You've seen already throughout the season, so you kind of know what to expect. So I'm guessing that I might have like one weekend free this week.
Coach, listen, you've got 3 state titles to your credit. You've been to numerous Final Fours. Explain to our listeners out there, what's the magical formula that it takes in volleyball to get a state championship?
Well, obviously a lot of things have to work to your advantage. Certain teams peak during different parts of the season, and obviously if you peak, you want to peak at the end of the year playing your best volleyball. A big part of it is staying healthy. Staying healthy and clicking at all cylinders at the end of the year. And, just getting some breaks here and there. I mean, volleyball is such a momentum sport, and things just have to fall in your way. And hopefully that's what happens at the end of the season.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about the success of volleyball in this particular area. Not only the Lehman Cavaliers, the Shelby County Athletic League, extremely good in volleyball. We've got the defending state champion, Fort Laramie Redskins. Of course, in the MAC, you've got Marion Local, you've got Versailles, St. Henry, Coldwater. Just the teams around this area are just so phenomenal. Why? Why are these teams in this area so dominant in volleyball?
I think this area is just great athletes. And if you look at it, our area, the Southwest District, has been a state champion probably for the last 15 years. And it's not just volleyball, it's basketball, but, I think this area just breeds athletes that are multi-sport athletes, and they're dedicated to their schools, and they just, they're extremely hard workers. And, it's great to see. It's great to see the competitiveness and, the hard work.
Hey, Coach, one more question and we'll let you go. I want to take the focus off your team a little bit. And before you came on tonight, we were talking about that big Shelby County League matchup last night with Fort Laramie upsetting Jackson Center. Now, I know you got a chance to see both those teams during the regular season. Did last night's upset, did that surprise you at all?
Well, I'd be lying if I said it didn't. I mean, it definitely surprised me. But it also, we talk to the girls every year, and volleyball is such a momentum sport, and anything can happen on any night. And obviously, Fort Laramie was clicking on all cylinders, had a great night, and Jackson Center, anyone can lose on any night, especially with this area as competitive as it is. So, there's a lot of great volleyball every night, and anything can happen. So, it was a little bit of a surprise, but, 2 great teams. So I'm not shocked.
Well, listen, Coach, best of luck to your Cavaliers throughout the tournament trail. Appreciate you being on our show tonight. And, good luck to your team, and go get them.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yep. All right, thanks, Coach.
Bye.
All right, that was the head coach of the Lehman Cavaliers, Greg Snipes, and a lot of success over there, Ken, year after year. Certainly one team to keep your eye on in tournament, especially with the way their bracket is set up. And I liked what he had to say about, how, you got to keep your athletes healthy. It's kind of a momentum sport. Got to get some breaks. Sounds familiar with a lot of sports in high school.
It's very similar to whether you're talking cross country or volleyball or basketball or football or baseball, Craig. It's, you got to have athletes, you got to be healthy, and you got to catch the breaks. So anything can happen in postseason, and it really doesn't matter what sport you're playing, but one bad outing, one bad match, one bad game, and your season's over. So there's no second chances, and all it takes is that one fluke play, and your season can be over.
All right, well, that second season, or that postseason, is getting started this weekend. A lot to look forward to there. And that's going to wrap it up for our volleyball talk in the first half of Fish Report Live. We're going to take a short break, but stay right there, because when we come back, we're going to talk some girls golf, including that big interview with Versailles coach Joe Harrmann.
Stage at the Lehman band. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. Teacher, cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, looking for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
All right, welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live, everyone. Ken, it's kind of a ladies' night tonight. Before the break, we were talking some volleyball. Now we're going to talk a little bit of girls golf, and one local team representing the area over here in Columbus this weekend is going to be the Versailles Lady Tigers. And this isn't exactly the first time they've won a state championship, or excuse me, went to state over there, is it?
No, it's not, Craig. They've been there a few different times. First time under Coach Joe Harrmann. The Lady Tigers have had a very successful golf program over there. He came actually over from Lehman to take over the program, and of course has continued that success with the Lady Tigers.
Yeah, actually from Cincinnati originally, and then went to Lehman, and then now up to Versailles. Read a little bit about him before our interview tonight. Wanted to know a little bit about Coach. We're happy to have him, though, live on the phone right now. Coach Harrmann, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us. Well, I think we're still getting him on the phone here, but not only do I think we have him now. Coach Harrmann, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, listen, congrats on the great regular season and getting to the state tournament this weekend. We were just talking here before you came on about Versailles has actually been to the state tournament a couple times in the past, recently 2012, 2013, but this is the first time with you. I think the only other the only other girl that's been there is your Maddie Cavalt, one of your best golfers over there. Was that a goal of your team starting to begin the season to get to state? I mean, do you talk about those kind of things to start out the season?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, kind of a good program that we've had, in the past. Obviously, they've made it to the state a couple times. And, we talk to start the season. That's obviously the main goal of every coach, I think, is to eventually reach that, state level, no matter what sport you're talking about. But for us specifically, what I tell them is, let's set small goals and try to get there. And if we can reach those smaller goals, then eventually that pinnacle of the state might be within our reach. And so, I just kind of break it down with them and say, we've got individual matches, dual matches. We've got invites that we're going to go to where there's going to be, 15, 18 teams. We got the MAC tournament. We got the MAC matches. And let's just set goals to, win matches. Let's set goals to place well at invites. hopefully put ourselves in a good position at the end of the year. And if we do what we can do in those matches and control what we can control, then I think ultimately you can reach that goal of getting to the state at the end of the year.
All right, well, listen, I just mentioned your senior a little bit ago, Maddie Cavalt, and I actually had a chance to listen to you coach back on senior night out at Stillwater Golf Course when you played our Russia Raiders here at the end of the regular season. You kind of highlighted Maddie being your only senior, but you also have 4 underclassmen over there that will be playing for you this weekend as well. What do you like about this group of girls?
I think a little bit of everything is what I like. We've got, Maddie being our only senior, who brings a ton of experience to the table, obviously being to the state a few times herself in the past. So she's bringing a lot of experience and talent to the table. And then we've got, our only junior in Lauren Heitkamp, who had a fantastic year, tied the school record for an away match, and put up some really low numbers for us, another first-team All-MAC selection. And then we've got a couple sophomores who got a great experience last year as freshmen and got a lot of time. With Georgia Pottis and Lauren Barham, both did well on the MAC and the other events for us this year. And then Morgan Heitkamp being our only freshman who played in the majority of the varsity matches. But I think what I like about him is there's a variety there. There's a variety of skill set. They're not all the same type of golfer. There's a lot of experience there with a couple of them that they can give to the younger girls. And then I also like the fact that we do have some young ones in there because eventually the experience has to leave and graduate. And, I know there's coaches out there that get that great year where they've got 5 seniors or 6 seniors, and that's a great year, but then the year after that is a little tough. So, it's kind of nice having a little bit of young talent on your team so that you have, something to develop and look forward to. So I would say just all around, that variety in each one of them is a little bit unique, and that's what I like about it.
Hi, Coach. This is Ken. Give us the itinerary for the week ahead. What course are you actually playing in Columbus? Do you guys get a practice there? When are you leaving? Is the school having a pep rally or anything for you girls? What's the plan?
Sure. We got a great plan in place, and that kind of starts back actually the day of the district. You win the district, or I shouldn't say win, but you place in the top 3, and they kind of have a packet waiting on you. And they give you select your your practice tee time right there, right after districts, and so basically the itinerary is we're gonna head up tomorrow morning to Columbus. We're gonna play the gray course. That's at Ohio State. You got the scarlet and the gray, and the boys are playing the scarlet, and the females are gonna play the gray. And we got a 12 o'clock practice round scheduled at the gray course tomorrow, and then we got a coaches meeting at 4 o'clock. Then we'll have some dinner, team dinner, and retire for the night at the hotel, and then get up in the morning on Friday morning for our tee times, which start at 9 o'clock with the number 5 golfer, and they work backwards to the number 1. So Maddie will tee off around 9:32. The school is class act all the way. They send us off with a great little walkthrough with the school. The band will lead us and play the fight song, and all the kids and faculty members and teachers and everybody will be out in the hallways to cheer us on. And, they really do it right. And like a lot of the schools in this area who have had a lot of success, at the state level or who have made it to the state level, you get a lot of support from the communities. And it's just neat to see how everybody kind of comes together and wishes you off. And so they're going to do that for us tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock right after announcements, and then we'll get on the van and head out. So that's kind of the itinerary for the week.
Sounds like a lot of fun, Coach. Listen, I've never been to the state golf match. I don't know if you have or not, but what do you expect the atmosphere to be like over in Columbus on Friday and Saturday compared to, say, a regular season golf match around here? Sure.
I've been before, not personally as a golfer. When I went to school in McNick down in Cincinnati. And we made it pretty far a couple times, but we never made it to the state. And the first time I actually got to go was when I was teaching and coaching over at Lehman Catholic. And Elmer Slater was the coach, and I was going to take over that program the following year. And before I did that, they actually made it to the state, so I got to experience it there. I went up and watched them and kind of saw the guys that I was going to take over. So that was kind of neat. But, the atmosphere in regards to what it's like back home, it's definitely different. It's a lot more kind of like a pro setting, I guess, where everybody's real quiet. real respectful. The galleries are a lot bigger. You'll have probably 20, 30 people, following around a group, depending on the talent level of that group. If they're, well advertised and there's some colleges looking at them and things like that. But you just got a lot of buzz going around, a lot of people around the clubhouse, and there's just so many, schools that are being supported by great communities and families and things like that. So there's a lot going on. So the atmosphere is a little bit different, and you can kind of see it in the players' face. They get a little anxious, and you can see the nervousness on the first tee and things like that, which is neat, though. I mean, to go through that and get a little taste of that. But I think what I'm going to tell my girls, what I've been telling them, all year long is it doesn't do any good to put any extra, stress or pressure on yourself. And that's obviously easier said than done. But, they just need to do their thing and, do what they've done all year long, control what they can control, and I think they'll be all right. But it's definitely a really neat atmosphere. The state does it right, and they treat everybody great up there. So really looking forward to it.
All right, Coach. Hey, listen, one more question, and we'll let you go. But you kind of mentioned your background there a little bit. Said went to school, I think, down at McNick, and then you eventually came up, started teaching at Lehman, or was it part of the Lehman program, and then now at Versailles. I was reading a little bit about you before our interview tonight, and read some of that same stuff. Also read something kind of interesting. I'm going to go off subject here, but since we're kind of in the middle of the Major League Baseball playoffs right now, I saw where you were invited to play a summer of baseball over in Japan. Now, was that in high school, college? What was that all about? Fill me in here.
Yeah, sure. Actually, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to give you a shortened version of it because I know you guys are on a time crunch there. But, I was a pretty big baseball player in high school and had, dreams and aspirations of playing at the next level and everything. And I got recruited a little bit out of high schools, some D1 and D2 and D3 schools. And long story short, I ended up picking a D3 school in Indiana. It didn't really work out, so I transferred back home, and I ended up going to the University of Dayton, and I stopped playing for a year and realized I really missed it and wanted baseball kind of to be in my life still. So they had a great club program there. I was trying to focus on academics and stuff, so I decided not to try to walk on and just see what the club thing was all about. So I started playing club ball and kind of got into that and did pretty well. Got some good accolades and things through that organization. And I don't know where I was, but somebody noticed me and picked me up somehow. And I got a phone call after I had finished doing that, and they said, "Hey, we saw you play. We had a scout out, watching games and stuff." And so I got this call from an organization, and they asked me if I'd like to go over to Japan and play with some other college guys. There were some guys from UNLV and I think University of Illinois and Indiana State. So it was a pretty neat atmosphere. It was kind of an all-star makeup of a bunch of guys from different colleges that went over and played against some of their university level teams and semi-pro, guys that were kind of in the middle of things, trying to make it over there or whatnot. So just kind of a unique experience, and I was fortunate that I got to do it. I'm still not really sure how I was noticed or how that came about, but it was definitely a neat atmosphere and something I'll never forget. Cool experience for sure.
Hey, Coach, that's a great story. I'd like to talk to you a little more about baseball in itself, just because, like Craig said, it's October, and there's a local guy by the name of Kyle Schwarber from Middletown that you might know, playing for the Cubs now, and he hit a home run last night that I think it might still be in orbit somewhere. I'm not sure. So, but, good luck to your Lady Tigers this weekend. I know you got the town of Versailles. You'll have everybody's support. You got Fish Report support. And, hopefully the Tigers do well. And congratulations on the success that you've had.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you having me on and appreciate the support. Hopefully we'll bring back a winner.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
All right, that was the head coach of the Versailles Lady Tigers, Joe Harmon. Best of luck to him. Also, best of luck to one other local golfer that we had in the show a few weeks ago, and that's Emily Knopf over in Fort Laramie. And, Ken, we got about 30 seconds left here. I do want to go back to the sound room one more time, and that's because we talk sports a lot around here, but occasionally we even participate in sports, and our own TK actually ran a half marathon last weekend down in Dayton. And TK, I know you've got a little bit of a streak going in this half marathon in Dayton, don't you?
Well, it's a favorite of mine. It's a nice fall run. I've been there 4 years in a row now, and 7 out of the last 9, which I'm kind of proud of. But the really impressive thing, there are 4 gentlemen there who have run every one of the 39 half marathons held down in Dayton at the Classic, at the River Corridor Classic, and I bet they'll be there next year for the 40th. So that's kind of neat to always see those guys there and always watch them get to run.
All right. Well, congratulations on that. And Heavy D, I want to get to you. I'm not sure. Do you have any half marathons on your schedule coming up this fall?
No, actually, I looked at my last half marathon T-shirt. It was Nashville 2011, and I'm still working through ingrown toenail and a hemorrhoid. So, going on 5 years of not participating. We'll see what the future has to hold.
I remember that race. We had a good time that weekend.
We did. That was a good time. All right, one more thing to get to before we close the show, and that is tonight's poll question. Ken, why don't you read the poll question again, and we'll have TK check the Fish Report telemetrics out.
Craig, tonight's poll question, we're talking lady volleyball action. Which Division IV power has the possibility of knocking off, or the best chance of knocking off, the Jackson Center Tigers this year? Will it be Lehman, Fort Laramie, Marion Local, or nobody? It's not going to happen this year.
Well, Fort Laramie did it last night during the regular season. TK, what do the viewers say? Who's going to do it in tournament?
Well, like they say, you play the tournament, you play the games for a reason, to see who really wins. But according to our viewership, Jackson Center is going to win it.
They're 100%. Nobody's going to beat them.
Huh?
They're good. They're very good. But talk to the Fort Laramie Redskins. They knocked them off last night. Springfield Catholic got them last year. Anything can happen in the postseason, guys. So it's going to be interesting.
They're going to have to earn it.
You're going to have to play to win.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. I do want to say special thanks to our guest, Lehman coach Greg Snipes, and also Versailles coach Joe Harmon. Also, thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in tonight. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week. Same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the Fish Report, hanging at the fish.